Hello everyone, I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com and welcome back to my continuing coverage of the 2017 Dallas International Film Festival. This is the fourth film that I've seen in the festival so far, and what is it? It is called Mine. Now this one stars Armie Hammer, and he plays a sniper marine who is doing a mission, and him and his spotter have to, travel back to their base or whatnot. They come across a minefield and something happens with his spotter, and then he actually presses his left foot on one and he cannot move. So it's one of those movies where it's one character, one location, and you kind of just see them grow as a character. You kind of see just them kind of transform throughout the movie, and it's their solo performance is what carries the movie. So I was really excited to see this movie. I got to tell you, I liked it for the most part, but I was very privileged to be the first ever audience to be a part of ever watching this movie. So thank you, Wellgo USA, the company that distributed it, that's behind the movie and whatnot. So thank you for that. So let's get real and break down Mine. And I'll start with the writing and directing, because I think this is where some of the issues come in hand. So I'll try to explain myself without spoiling anything. So let's start with the actual writing. Now, with a movie like this, it's got to be compelling for the whole hour and a half. It can't just be kind of like hit and miss and really kind of takes you in and out of the movie. It's got to be on point and tightly edited and tightly directed from start to finish in order to kind of get your attention, right? And not have it, wander off and be like, oh man, what time is it type of deal. I like this story for the most part. And the thing is, like, it's very tense throughout, except for a couple of moments. But for the most part, it's a really well-told story that uses actually this landmine in this situation to actually build upon and kind of explore the character's backstory, which I've actually never really seen before. So that's kind of unique in that aspect, and that's part of the story I actually really enjoyed. Now, this is not a spoiler. I mean, you guys can probably get a hint of it. If you're stuck out in the desert and you can't really move, you're going to become dehydrated and you're going to hallucinate some things. As soon as the first hallucination started, that's when I finally started to click with the movie, and that's when it started to actually be really good for me, because I really kind of got a grasp of the character and really focused in on the character and stuff, and using that landmine to try to tell some of his backstory and have him, progress in life and not, dwell in the past and really just kind of move forward and whatnot. That part was genius about the movie. I have no issue with that. It's everything that happens in the first half. I thought the first half was a little clunky in terms of going from this kind of intense, like, suspense thriller to like some comedic moments that just didn't really work for me, and the story wasn't really compelling and whatnot. It's an interesting premise, but it just wasn't that compelling, and there was a lot of stuff that happened that was really convenient for the story, and some stupid things that were done by certain characters. I was like, oh no, this is going to be a drag. But once that first hallucination started, that's when the movie started picking up for me. So kind of clunky in the start, involving some stupidity with some characters and some conveniences, and just not really clicking well tonally for me. And then it just develops into this really nice movie about a character that I didn't really expect to have that much depth to him. So that's where I'm kind of mixed on the story and the characters. The main character is definitely fleshed out from that half point on, and there are some characters introduced throughout the movie, which at the start I thought they were kind of annoying, and I thought they really didn't add any value to the movie, and they just felt like it felt like a different movie. But as the movie progressed, I realized that these kind of characters that were introduced, kind of in the middle of the movie, they do have significant meaning to the character and whatnot. And I kind of appreciate it from that standpoint, and so it did get a little better. Once again, I'm trying to be as vague as I can so you can kind of go into this blind and just know the basic premise of the movie. As far as directing goes, like I said, kind of clunky in the first half, but that second half was really well done. Just kind of exploring this character and just kind of like all the kind of just terrible things that he's experienced in his past, and really kind of dive into it and really what makes this person tick, what really makes this person, humble, and what makes him, just everything. Like I said, it's really hard to describe without spoiling anything, but I like the direction overall when it comes to the characters and kind of developing the characters and the tension for the most part. I thought the tension in the movie was really well done, and it was airtight when it comes to the direction and the editing and whatnot, because that has got to be on point when it comes to these type of one location type movies. I thought the direction for the most part was great. But the comedic aspect of it was kind of off-putting, and it really didn't mesh well with me. So I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity for the directors. I think they should have just kept it like intense and suspenseful the entire time with like a little bit of levity, but not really humor. It's just, I don't know, they could have done something different. It was just a little off-putting with that, but for the most part, I thought from start to finish, it was a really well-done character study, actually, but set in this kind of intense situation. So it was intense when it wanted to be. It was a lot emotional when it wanted to be. So I thought the directors kind of balanced it out very well, except for the comedic stuff. Acting-wise, Armie Hammer, first half, once again, going back to the whole first half thing, I thought was a little kind of sour. I was like, oh no, his acting is like okay at best, but when something was like happening that was really kind of frightening and kind of horrific, his acting was not selling. I was like, ugh, this is not going to work. But I'm telling you, once that first hallucination starts, there's something that kind of snapped into Armie Hammer to where he really kind of got a grasp of what this character was all about. And there was even one scene at the end where I was like, okay, this is why he was hired to do this project. He's really good in this scene, and this second half of the movie really kind of showcases what he can do as an actor, because a lot of people don't really associate Armie Hammer as a good actor. But when you watch this second half, in my opinion, he really kind of sells it for me, and he definitely shows why he does what he does and why he's actually one of the best at it. The spotter, he's fine. Like, he's not like the best actor. Everyone else, I gotta be honest with you, is just serviceable. Maybe the introduction of the other character in the middle of the movie, which I didn't like the first half, but towards the end, he got pretty good. But everyone else was just kind of like either one note or just kind of like there to service the story. Like I said, it's more about the character study within Armie Hammer and whatnot. That's why there's a few things in the movie with, like, at the very beginning, how there's a mission that they're kind of going on, and it's kind of like forgotten by the wayside once they get into this like hellish situation, because this movie overall is not focusing on kind of like what's surrounding the character. It's more within the character. So that's why I kind of appreciate, story elements that involved Armie Hammer, because he's the core center of the movie. And I thought, like I said, his performance really kind of delivered in that second half. And, just the movie focusing on him, you really kind of have to step up to the plate in the performance department. I think he delivered for the most part. Cinematography-wise, once again, this has got to be slightly interesting since you're set basically in a desert with a guy stepping on a mine and just standing there. There's a couple of interesting shots where you might put the character to the right of the screen and have this nice, beautiful wide shot of the desert, or you might have a really kind of bird's eye view shot, or, some interesting close-ups and whatnot. There's not really much you can do to make it interesting, but it's edited in such a way to where, like, it really doesn't matter if it's just kind of blandly shot for some scenes, because you're just so invested in the story and whatnot. Even some of the flashback scenes and some of the sequences that involve the hallucination are very well shot and very well edited. They're very, like I said, dream-like and surreal and nightmarish and kind of emotional and stuff. So those hallucination scenes are actually very well shot and very well edited. But everything else is kind of bland, a little flat. But they tried their best to make it as interesting as possible. Going into the editing aspect, for a movie that's an hour and 45 minutes, I thought it was edited just right. The comedic stuff took me out of that movie so much where I was like, oh no, where's this movie going? But once I got back into the intense stuff, into the emotional stuff, I thought it was paced out wonderfully to where it was intense when it needed to be, and you were on the edge of your seat, and then you can kind of relax a little bit when it got to the emotional stuff, and you're like, yeah, it gives the movie a little bit to breathe a little bit and kind of understand the character. So I thought the editing for the most part was good. The second half was better than the first half, but it is definitely not an amateur, that's for sure, when it comes to all that. So overall, guys, I like the movie, and I think it's a solid movie, but I gotta dip my grade down just a hair because some stupidity within the characters. There was a little bit too much convenient things happening to just move along the plot, and it just seemed to happen really fast and randomly. And like I said, the whole first half involving the acting, just the setup, and some of the comedic stuff just did not work for me. But that whole second half made up for it to where I couldn't give this movie a C+ because there was a lot of good things going for it. So I'm just going to go a hair up and not give it a B as a solid film. But I'm going to say it's a little less than a solid film. And I'm going to give mine a B-. So that's my review of Mine. I'm probably one of the probably one of the only people on YouTube right now reviewing this movie. So thank you, Well Go USA, for screening that the other night. I did enjoy it for the most part, so please go see Mine. And all those Armie Hammer skeptics out there, this movie will probably do it for you in terms of maybe turning your opinion around a little bit. That and The Social Network. So yeah, what do you guys think of Mine? Comment in the place where my face, let me know. I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com, and I guess come on back for my continuing coverage of the 2017 Dallas International Film Festival. I will see you guys for the next one.